Okay, good day everyone. So in this video, we will be talking about strings. Okay, so we have already been dealing with strings in our past programs or in our past lectures, but we'll dive more into the different, let's say, features of the string data type. So the string data type, so as a string is a sequence of characters. Okay, so when you want, yeah, kabalo naman mo ane, okay? So you already know this is more like a review. So it is a sequence of characters. So a string literal uses quotes. So pwede single quote, pwede double quote. Okay? So for strings, the addition symbol means concatenate. So kabalo naman mo ana. But later I will show you, okay? Siguro naglisod na mo atong daghag plus, di ba? Okay, I'll show you later the different ways of formatting string. So, when a string contains numbers, it is still considered as a string, di ba? So, if you are trying, you commonly see this if you are going to receive an input from a the input function, okay? So, by default, ayan data type na string, and if you immediately add that, if you receive numbers from that input function, so ihara nang i-concatenate, meaning ihara nang isumpay. Okay, though we can convert string numbers in a string into a number, okay, using int or float, okay, as long as the entire value of a string is represented by a number. Okay, so for example kani, so our string 1 equals hello, so with double quotes, that is considered a string literal. Okay, str2 there with a single quote, that is still a string literal. And if you're going to perform addition to that, okay, this would be treated as concatenation. So, iyan ang isumpay. So, the result would be, if we are going to print Bob here is the variable holding the value of str plus str1 plus str2. So, mamarka na hello there. Okay. So, here in this case, str3, if you're going to assign a value nga 1, 2, 3 with quotes, now, using this quote, okay, you are registering that or entering that as a string. So if you're going to perform something like this, okay, so you're going to update the new value of str3 to from str3 plus 1. Now since this is a string, you still haven't made any typecasting to this or conversion, so mag-error na siya. So if you want, okay, you could either use int or float. So x is equals to int str3, okay, you are casting, di ba? Naka-discuss na ni. If you're going to do that, so now pwede na siya i-process. Okay? So far what you have learned on strings, okay, it's true here. So reading and converting, you already know this. Okay? So kana. So looking inside strings. Now actually, okay, strings, the string data type, okay, you could actually let's say manipulate this, okay? So you can actually slice this, okay, or pinpoint characters. Now how do you do that? Okay, you need to know that there are specific indexes in our or indices in our string. Okay, so we can get at any single character in a string using the index specified in the square brackets. Okay, so we'll see later. Now the index value must be an integer and starts at 0. Okay, so this is the reason why in our loops, okay, if you have noticed, we commonly use loops starting with 0. Okay, since most numbering or indexing in Python, okay, starts with 0. Okay, so it's a very common usage. So in this case, with the string banana, okay, ang iyahang, let's say, ang address anang individual, okay, individual characters, okay, the first character B will have an index of 0 instead of 1. So naka-offset siya. So we could say that since this word has 6 characters, so 5 rataman ang number sa iyang last index because 0 siya nagsugod. Okay? So here, so we have a fruit or we have a string value, string literal nga banana, you assign that to a variable fruit. Now, if you want to get the letter, okay, if you want to extract the letter, what you can do, a letter in this case, okay, if you are want to extract the letter A, what you need to do is, inyuhang isulat, okay, inyuhang isulat ang ngalan sa variable kung asa na store ang string literal, then in square brackets, you specify the index. So if you're going to do this, print letter, so magpakita nag A. Now, of course, you could perform certain computation as long as it returns a number. So, pwede na siya. So, in this case, given that x is equal to 3, then w is equal to fruit. Inside its square brackets, x minus 1. So, pwede na siya. So, 3 minus 1, that is 2. So, unsa may letter nga nabutang sa index nga 2, that is n. That is why if we're going to print w, letter n na siya. Okay? So, to check if that is true, okay, kaya basing hindi po ni tinuod, or this is outdated information, but I believe this is still the case. So, fruit is equal to banana, okay, then letter is equals to fruit, okay, ana. So, we're going to get the character which has in our fruit nga variable, which of the index 1. Again, okay, indexing starts from 0. So, ang magpakita na if we're going to print, okay, letter would be letter A. So, if we're going to check in our console, okay, you could see here letter A. So, if you have x is equal to 3, w is equal to fruit, okay, you're going to perform math operation in between our brackets. It is allowable as long as the result would be a number. Okay, so print w. So if we're going to do that, so magpakita sa ikaduha nato nga print output is ang letter n. Okay, so far so good. Okay, now di ba you could address, okay, you could address manually. Now, if you're going to address a certain character which is out of its index, okay, or meaning non-existent na siya nga index, so it will give you an error. Okay, so you will get a Python error if you attempt to index beyond the end of a string. Okay, so be careful when constructing index values and slices. So the slices will deal more about that later. So if you're going to okay, do something like this, let's say ABC, and we want, okay, let's say 5, okay, if you're going to count here, ang maximum value lang nga index nga iyahang nato ang ma-extract, okay, will be 0, 1, 2. So dili gid na pwede ang 5, okay, so if we're going to do that, okay, it will give you this error, okay, telling you that the string index is out of range. Okay, now strings have length. Okay, so if a certain string is too long, and if you want, okay, it's part of your program, you want to determine unsa kataas ng string, so there are many built-in functions that enables you to do that. Okay, one of this is getting the length of that string. So the built-in function len gives us the length of a string. So simply we enclose, okay, we'll enclose. Okay, so going back to our fruit nga banana, if you want to get the length, okay, so diba fruit, doing this will display the actual value of our variable, but doing this, okay, enclosing that variable with the len function, so you need not, okay, import this, na siya daan, okay, by default. Okay, so if we're going to make this run, ito asa ning i-clear, so you get to see 6, okay, ang kataas ni sa character ha kung pila ka buok characters. So if you're going to count 1, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay, so ang kataas is 6 characters. But in terms of indexing, okay, the individual letters could be indexed starting from 0, okay. So ang common ani nga ang formula ani is if you want to know the index is it ranges from 0 to length, okay? Length minus 1. Okay, so nga na. So if a character has or if a string has 6 characters, so iyang index iyang mga value sa iyang mga index is from 0 to 5. Okay, so just so you know, kana. So the len function, so again a function is some stored code that we use. We already know that. Kana. So looping through strings. It is very common that since we now know that kaning mga strings we could pinpoint, okay? We can pinpoint characters. So you might be asking, sir, ngano kinahanglan nato natun-an? Okay? It's very common in a program that you are given a large amount of text. Then ang inyong trabaho as a programmer is you're going to extract. Okay? You're going to parse that string. Okay? So later on we'll do some form of parsing. Okay? So kanang parsing is you are manipulating the string, okay, in a way that you are extracting information that you need. Okay? So, okay, looping statements, okay, you already know this, katong for ug while. So using a while statement, an iterating variable or an iteration variable and the len function, so we could actually construct a loop to look at each of the letters in the string individually. Okay? So, pwede na to tagsa-tagsaon og tan-aw. Okay? So, given this, okay, so index is equal to 0. Remember, sa itong paghimo og while loop, we start with an initial value, then the while statement, then the body of the loop, then katong ato ang pag-update sa variable. Okay? So, while index is less than len of our fruit, then okay, letter is equal to fruit index. Okay, so my tabo is every time the body of the loop is being executed, okay, the value of our letter variable here would be determined by the index of the current iteration, okay, of this fruit nga variable. Okay, so if we're going to print index letter, so what this will do is it will print, okay, both the index on our current index in the current iteration, then the letter associated with this. Okay, we haven't been using this. Okay, ang equivalent ana is kato ang style sa una is index, okay, plus ana. Okay, so let's try this first. Ato asa ning i-comment. Kana. So let's try this. We'll expect that ang magpakita diri sa left hand side would be the indices. Then, ang PCAS would be the characters corresponding that index. Okay, so, kana. Diba? If we're going to comment this out, okay. Okay. So, ang disadvantage, ani nga style, diba? We need to concatenate all parts of our concatenation, okay, should be string. Diba diretso na? So here, since index is an integer, so ato anang i-convert. So I have shown you this, diba? Okay, kana. Kuha na to. But using kaning kama lang, okay, dili na kinahanglan i-convert. Okay? So later on, we'll get to see more forms of formatting our string output. Okay? Gituyo na ko itong katong lisod sa akong ginatudlo. Okay? So that you get to appreciate kung unsaon pag-format sa mga strings. Okay? Ang kuan magud ani, there are also factors with efficiency. Okay? Using this, kaning duha, these are technically faster to render. Okay? Kumpara atong ako ipakita niya. But we are really not concerned with that. Okay? So, anyway, that's that. So, looping through strings. Another way of doing this is, okay, a definite loop using the for. So, a definite loop using a for statement is much more elegant. Okay? So, the iterating variable is completely taken care of in the for loop. So, dili na ito kinahanglan i-update permente ang iterating variable. Kani bitaw? Okay? Wala na siya. So, if you're going to create, okay? So, ito ko sabon, for, na nakatsada ani is, okay, it is much more compact and more readable. So, let's say index. Kana. So, kana ra. Okay? Of course, we still need to have this. Kane. Dili ani kinahanglan. Okay? So, if we're going to comment this out. Okay? So, if we're going to di na siya pwede gamitan ng index kay wala man nato na gi. But if atong goal lang is ingani, okay, if you want to print the letter only, so pwede ra, okay, diri lang is iha pa magipakita ko ng indices, okay. But anyway, if you only want to print the individual letter, so mas elegant ni siya nga and mas compact ni siya nga approach. Okay, so if you're going to print this, so you get to see nga na. So nawala na ni, okay, nawala ng uban ani kaning iterating variable, and it is much more readable. So this is a simple loop that loops through, okay, each letter this is a simple loop that loops through each letter in a string and counts the number of times the loop encounters the A character. So it's like keeping track of the number of characters. So if somehow you want to create a program that counts the number of letter A or a certain letter, you can do this. So writing that into code. Okay, so initially we have a count of 0. Okay, what pa man tayo na ihap. So for letter in Word, if letter is equal to A, take note, okay, wala na nato ginakuan, di ba? We are no longer specifying it in, okay, in an index. Okay? So you already assigned this with our variable here. Okay? I hope you still remember katong for loop na to, di na to na i-discuss agayo. Since we already discussed that in detail in our loops nga discussion. But doing this, okay, print count. So every time, in every iteration nga ma-encounter niya ang letter A, okay, di ba iyaman ang in every iteration niya nang itagsa-tagsaon. If makita niya na, it will increase the number of count by 1. Then, until mahuman, so we have, kung unsay last ana niya nga value, that would be the final value of our count. So if we're going to see here, we expect 3. So we're going to make this run. Oops, name word is, okay, this should be fruit. Okay, so we're going to do that. So, kana 3. Okay, so looking deeper into the in, okay, in nga statement or in nga loop. So again, the iteration variable iterates through the sequence. So ang atong sequence ani is kaning 6 character string. So atong iteration variable is kaning letter. Okay? So the block or the body of the block, or the block body of the code is executed once for each value in the sequence. So since 6 na ka-characters, okay, iyahan nang i-iterate, okay, iyahan nang i-receive ang value, okay, sa to ang variable nga letter. So in character, a single character, so yan ang i-print dayon diha as its body. Okay, so the iteration variable moves through all of the values in the sequence. So slicing strings. So slicing, di ba itong hiwaon? So let's say we are given a quite a large string. Okay, meaning daghan siya characters, daghan siya words. Okay? Sometimes you are required to extract. Okay? Extract certain parts of that string. Now, you can do this by using the colon operator. Okay? Now, this might be confusing at first, but okay. So, the second number is 1 beyond the end of the slice up to but not including. This might be confusing, but ingani. Given this string, okay, stored in a variable s, so kaning statement nga print, okay, di ba sa to ang initial usage aning square brackets, kung unsa nga number diha ibutang, that indicates the index. Then it will print the corresponding character which resides in that index. But in this case, okay, you're going to get the substring, kibale, or ito ang gina-extract. Ang from a larger string, we extract a smaller string. So kaning s square bracket 0, so diha na siya magsugod og extract. Okay? So in this statement, diri siya magsugod. Ang 4, okay, diha na siya mahuman og extract sa index. So index 4 siya mahuman. But it doesn't include the letter in that index. Kuha ninyo? So ang 0 diri diha magsugod. So diri. Okay? Ang second, okay, the number after our colon, that specifies the kung asa tataman. But in this case, okay, dili niya apilon kung unsay value ang nasa 4. Diba? Medyo libog, but through practice ma-realize ra ninyo ni, or if you're going to try this out, so if you keep in mind that dili apil, okay, mo ning ngandere up to but not including. So the second number is 1 beyond the end of the slice up to but not including, mo ning pasabot. So that is why 0, okay, then 4 siya taman, but dili niya ni apilon. So ato ang word nga ma-extract ana is kani MONT. Okay? So kani dire sa ato ang S6 and 7. Okay? So print kana ang statement. So 6, so diri ta magsugod sa 6. Okay? Ang 7, okay, diha siya mahuman. Still you're going to count from this, from here. Okay? So 1 2 3 4 5 dili dai. 0, this is index 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So diri daw siya taman. But then again, remembering nga dili niya ni apilon sa iyahang pag-extract. That is why pira ang makita diha. Now, if you attempt, okay, in contrast atong index nga dili mag-exist, okay, sa ato ang initial usage ani, this will not return an error, but it will only get, okay, if the second number is beyond the end of the string, it stops at the end. So, dili siya maghatag og error. That is why, even though 11 na diha, but natin nakita nga 20, so mahitabo ani is gikan sa 6. Okay? So, 6. Diri sa ikaduha, 20. But wala na may 20 diha, so, nahitabo na is 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Wala na may 12, wala na may 20. So, kung unsa asa ra sa taman nga iyahang na extract, iyahan nang i-return. Okay? Iyahan ang kwaon. So I hope that is not confusing to you. So that's that. Tayo test ha. Let's try. So given the string, okay, Monty Python. Okay. Now, this is not the only way of slicing, really. Okay, napay uban daghan. Napay uban at least one more nga pamaagi I'll show you later. So print s 0 4. So unsa expected nato ani nga output? Okay? So gikan sa 0 nga character, yan ang i-print taman sa character, okay? Character before sa asa nag-reside ang 4. Okay? So this is 0. Yeah, so good. 0. Then kanida yon 0, 1, 2, 3, 3, 4. But remember, dili niya na i-appeal og include. So excluding the value in this index, iyahan nang i-print gikan sa 0. So if we're going to print that out, okay, montra ang iyahang gi-print, okay, or 4 characters. Okay? So if we're going to do something like print s 6 7, oops, that should be 6, then 7. So again, unsaon ni pagbasa or unsaon ni pag-interpret? So gikan sa index nga 6, okay? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, including space, 5, 6, okay? So diya siya magsugod og print taman asa. So kaning second number, okay? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But since we will not include this letter, okay, that is why pag print ana, pira ang magpakita. Okay? So kato dayong print s, okay, 620. So even though this is outside the maximum value of our index, okay, di ba 11 naman ni 11 naman ni ka ang iyang last nga index. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so even though you specify there a number nga out of its bound, so iyang himuon ana is mo end ra pod siya kung asa siya tama niya makita niya ang character. It will not return an error. Okay, so if you're going to do that, okay, unsa may character nga nasa 6, that is p. Okay, and tanan nga character after that, okay, even though nga nang lapas na siya, okay, it will return Python. So bahalag ibutang ninyo diri is 15, still Python ra gyapon na. Okay, na. So in contrast of having ingani, okay, di ba? Katong una nato nga encounter aning brackets. If we're going to do it like this, okay, mag-error gid na siya. Okay? So kana, nag-error siya diri. So you need to try this out to see for yourself, okay? Dili lang kay inyo ra dumdumon nga kana mag-error kung ingana. Okay? Of course, you need madumduman gyud ninyo, but dapat inyo yung gi-practice, okay, para ma-muscle memory. You learn much better that way when it comes to programming. Now, if we leave off the first number or the last number of the slice, it is assumed that to be the beginning or the end of the string respectively. So what if dili na to butangan? Okay? So kani, given the same string, if walay value diri, then naamoy 2 diha. Okay? It will assume, okay, nga nagsugod gikan sa pinakasugod. Okay? So here 2, so expected nga gikan sa wala may number diri, so iyan ang i-assume nga 0 na diha, then to index 2, but excluding the character in that index. So that is, okay, dire taman. So diri taman sa ato ang n, but excluding that, that is why MO nagpakita diha. Okay? So if wala pod, okay, so S8 man na nagsugod ang ato ang 8. So dire, if wala ni mag-specify diha, then it will assume that di ka taman sa pinaka tumoy ang imong gusto i-extract. So from that, taman sa pinakatumoy. That is why magpakita diha 8, then ang tumoy diha is HON, so ton. Now if you're going to move imuhan ang kwaon ng duha, okay, you are essentially just getting the entire string. Okay? So from 0 to unsay maximum length. So essentially the same are the string variable. So if we're going to try this out, so kani itong kwaon, then 2. So since wa siya nakita nga number, it is assumed nga diha sa pinakasugod taman, then kato da yung 2, 0, 1, 2, excluding that, so that is MO. So diri pod 8, let's say 8. So gikan sa 8, so that is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So gikan sa T, since wa siya nakita diha, sa second after the colon, then it will assume nga sa taman sa pinakatumoy. So if you're doing it like this, so since wa siya makita diha, it will assume nga sa pinakasugod siya ma-extract. Since wa siya nakita dira pod, so it will assume nga sa pinakatumoy. So essentially pulling this out, okay, the entire string. So we're going to make this run. So kana. So string concatenation. Di ba? We have already seen this. So using in we could also use in as a logical expression. So the in keyword can also be used to check to see if one string is in another string. Okay, mura bitag katong kanina. Okay? So another way of doing that. So the in expression, mura lag a logical operator or logical operation expression that you want to check. So the in expression is a logical expression that returns true or false and can be used in an if statement. Okay? So parehas ani. So ito na lang i-code diretso. So given fruit is equal to this string. Oops. Kana. If you're going to sa inyong lecture notes, you will see nga ingani lang gisulat fruit. Let's try doing it like this if natay makita. CLS na to na. Okay, wa tay makita, di ba? Mao ni ang pag gihimo sa to ang sa lecture notes. So if you want to check the value, just enclose that in a print statement. Okay, so medyo nagkulang ang ato ang lecture notes. So kani, di ba? Butangan lang to na siya og print. So let's check if mogana ni. So as you can see, true. Yan naman, na ay n sa banana. In fact, duha ka buok. Okay? If we're going to have print m in fruit, should not enclose that also with a quotation. So, kana. We expect that this will return false kay wala tay m diha sa banana. So, true, false. Okay? So, if we're going to check, okay, more than one character, is there a none in our banana? Okay, so since that is true, buta na siya true diha. So if we're going to use this in our loop, so if a in fruit, okay, print found it. Okay, so since tayo a sa to ang fruit, in fact tulo na kabuok, so it will print found it. Okay, so there are programs that requires you to do this. String comparison, it is similar to how we compare numbers. Okay, in which na ay kibali murag value associated in between them. Okay? So, let's try this. Ito na lang i-code diretso. So, if word is equal to banana, siguro magbutang kita diri og word is equal to banana. Print all right bananas. Ato na ning let's use a user function for this. Okay, word is equal to input, enter word. Since I think sa atong lecture notes, okay, it's kind of vague. Okay, walay value itong word dire initially. So let's have a user input function for that. So if word is less than banana, so print your word comes before banana. Oops. If word is greater than banana, let's just copy this. Your word comes after banana. Else, print all right bananas. Ito lang siya ning kwaon, since that is part of our else. So let's try this. Okay, so if butang tag word nga banana, okay, all right bananas. Then if you butang ta diri og apple, so the word apple comes before banana. Sakto. Kulang na siguro nag-space dere. So, unsa may pomelo. So, the word pomelo comes after banana. Okay? So, I think ang iyahang value ani, if you remember kata atong discussion sa ASCII code, so iyahan nang I think it will add all that value. But anyway, okay, this is string comparison. So Python has a number of string functions which are in the string library. So these functions are already built into every string. So we invoke them by appending the function to the string. We have already used some of these katong lower. Though this function do not modify the original string, instead it returns a new string that has been altered. So strings, by the way, in Python are I think they are called immutable. Okay, let's check. Okay, are strings in Python immutable? Okay, in Python, the string data types are immutable, which means a string value cannot be updated. Okay, so we could not really update a value of an existing string. We could only derive from that and assign another value to that. Okay, so what that means is, okay, let's say word is equal to banana. Then we want nga word, let's say 0, 1, 2. So, ang index kay 0, 1, 2, ito ang himuon og M. Okay? I think this will cause an error. Okay? So, kana. Does not support item assignment. So, it is immutable. Though we could change, okay, we could change the value of our word. Okay, diba? If you're going to do this, of course, nag-update na ka ani. Okay? You change the value of our word from banana to apple. But doing it like this nga atuag yung gikubian ang atuang okay? Ang atuang kani, okay? So, di ba, this refers word 1. 1 here refers to the index, kung asa ni nagbase. Okay? So, 0, 1. A na siya. If you attempt to change that into another letter, it will give you an error. Okay? But anyway, that is just so you know, in case you're wondering. Na tong slides na to. Okay. So, you already know that. Katong lower. Ito na lang i-code. So, let's say greet is equal to hello Bob. So, zap is equal to greet dot lower. Okay, so if you're going to print zap, so you expect nga tanan nga letter, kanang tanan nga capital letter would be okay, lower caps. If we have lower, we also have upper. So, daghan ni siya. Okay? Daghan ni siya nga mga function. So, kani, you might be wondering, what is this? Okay? These are some of the methods that is applicable para ani nga string. Okay? So, if you're going to have stuff, hello, you rarely do this stuff, but you do this, but this is just okay. If you want to know the different methods and functions that could be associated with this function or this string, so kaning type, okay, it just tells you, okay, unsa nga type, okay, nagamit naman to ni last. Okay. Oh no, you still haven't print that out. Print. So, saning clear. Okay, class string. So, if we're going to print stuff, then we call the dir function. Okay. Diba? Ang sanay ginapakita sa dir. It calls kay list name comprising some of the attributes of the given object. Okay? So, unsa ang mga attributes. Okay? Kulag kuan. Okay? So, kana. Anyway, if you're wondering ano na siya, okay, that's that. It's not really commonly used in programming, but since gibutang na siya diha, so siguro nagwonder mo ano na ana, so nganay na siya. So again, these are the different, okay, different functions. I think na discuss ni diri sa diri uban. Kani, let's try experimenting some of this. Okay, let's say we have a name. Okay, Juan de la Cruz. Let's make this capital. De la Cruz. So if you want to print, okay, name dot capitalize, okay, so output ana, let's check. Okay, di ba natay upper, natay lower? Ito na lang i-change to J D, kana. Okay, J and D, small letter. If you're going to make this run, Juan de la Cruz. Okay, so nahitabo ani is since this is one string, okay, it will change the first character of that string to a uppercase. Okay, so kana center with, let's try this, name dot with let's try object has no attribute with. So some of these functions could not really be, if we're going to okay, so we need to have, okay, there are documentation on how we're going to use this. Yeah, I think with is not used here, so let's just work on the examples or the functions that are used in this lecture notes. I was just trying to check if, okay, personally I haven't used this kani kana str center. I think I'm using that should be center di ay. Okay, let's try this one more time. It should not be sent with, that should be center, then with, let's say 3, then say return ani so may center ani. Okay, let's try 2. Okay, so I really don't know what this does, but anyway, some of these, of course, you're not required to use this if you do, if your program doesn't require you to have such functionality. Okay, so kani find, okay, a very common thing you want to do in your string. So we use find function to search for a substring within another string. So find, the function find, okay, sorry for that. So we use find function to search for a string within another string. So find finds the first occurrence of the substring. So if ma-encounter niya ang pinakaunang occurrence, okay, then iyahan na i-return. So if it's not found, it will return a -1. Remember that string position starts at 0. So if we're going to try this out, so fruit is equal to banana. So position fruit dot find kaning NA. So yan ang pangitaon. What this will do is it will return the index kung asa niya nakita ang first nga instance nga na ay NA. Okay? So we're going to print this. Magbutang siya og 2 nga naman. Okay? Using this, okay, function here, nakita niya nga ang NA na word nakita diri. Okay? Na-encounter niya diha. So asa man na nagsugod? Okay, that is sa 2. So 2 nga index, that is 0, 1, 2. Okay? Kana. So if we're going to put something like Z, which in this case wala diha, it will return, okay, -1. So making everything uppercase, kana na-try na nato na. Okay. Often when we are searching for a string, we first convert a string to a lowercase so we can search a string regardless of case. Okay? So mura ra ni og katong yes og no bitaw. Okay? We want to force the user the accepted character to be lowercase para di na ta mabahala. Kay lahi man ang uppercase ug lowercase nga value good. Okay? So para dili na nato na really strict. Okay? Dili kayo stricto ang iyahang pag-search. So search and replace. The replace function is like a search and replace operation in a word processor. I think you have used this. So it replaces all occurrences of the search string with the replacement string. So let's try this out. So greet is equal to hello Bob. Okay. So nstr, we are going to replace Bob with Jane. Okay. So if we're going to print kana siya, so what will happen is, okay, you are going to replace, okay, then you assign that to another variable. Okay, so iyang first unsa nga word imong gusto i-replace o imong pulihan, then unsa ang actual word ana nga iyang imong ipuli. Okay, so if we're going to do that, instead of hello Bob, nahimo na siya og hello Jane. So if you do something like this, nstr, ayan lang, nstr greet dot replace, so kanang character 0, we're going to replace that with capital letter X. Wala to i-print. Print nstr. So as you get to see, okay, kana. You might be wondering, sir, ngano dili Jane, ngano Bob, murag sa Bob siya nagbase, since diri man mo nagkuha. Okay? Remember, strings are immutable. That's why you are going to assign a variable to extract another string from that, from one string. So kana ang O gipulihan na to capital letter X. So ang O, small letter O, capital letter X. So stripping white space, sometimes daga na mga white space, especially if user input. Okay? And remember, kani mga white space gahold pud ni siya mo value or nanay pud siya na index. It is included as a value in our string. Okay? So to do that, okay? Sorry na dere ato ang statement. So sometimes you want to take a string and remove white space at the beginning, end, or the end. So L strip and R strip remove the white space at the left or the right. If you want to do both at the same time, you just use the word strip. So removes both and removes both beginning and ending white space. Okay, so let's say kani na. Okay, so if we print, okay, the length of our greet here, just to show you nga included ni siya sa ato ang value sa atong string, okay, kanang spaces. Okay, so if wala space, okay, in dere sa first and last, okay, it should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 ang iyang length. Okay? But since 9 spaces dere, it will not be 9. So if you're going to print that, tapos aning A clear, it should be 26. So, if we do something like let's say L greet, okay, is equal to L strip greet. If we're going to print length of L greet, L strip is not defined. Sorry. It should not be used like this. Okay, So print greet dot l strip. Okay. Oops. Len. Okay, let's try this. So we L strip our string. Okay, then we get the len. I'm going to do that. Hindi yapon siya. Has no len. Siguro, let's L greet len. So, this is not actually shown here. Okay, more on diretso ra siya. What I'm trying to do here is to check if nangakuha gid ang mga space. Okay, we could not simply see that in our console. So L greet is equal to greet dot L strip. So let's try this. Okay, singgana na. So as you get to see here, okay, nawala na ang spaces sa left. Now if you'll notice, I hope this is clear to you, na ay mga dot there is a Visual Studio Code, okay, specifying pila ka spaces. So there are actually, okay, nakuhaan siya og 5. Okay? So that is why 26 minus 5, 21. Okay? So R grid, let's say it will store the R strip once we strip the right side. Okay? So expect nga 26 manitanan be pila man ka naghandagan be 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. So 26 minus 12 siguro may ngana. So if we're going to print that out, len R greet, so 14. Be, sakto ba? Did we count that right? So 26 minus 12, 14, okay? But here, there is a R strip, okay? Wala niya ni gi-appeal. Of course, kay R strip atong gi-issue. So nahitabo sa ato ang L strip, ingani iyang string output, okay? Dayon sa R strip, ingani iyang string output. But if you want nga mawala ang duha, which is very common, mawala ang white spaces. White spaces, these are extra spaces. Okay? There is a both sides, so we could simply, okay, let's say as greet dot s strip print len s greet. So we expect nga 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 na ato ang length. Okay, which is the case. Okay, so in addition lang ni sa gipakita diri sa tong lecture notes. Okay, just to check if nangakuha ba gyud. One way of determining is ang length sa tuang strings. So prefixes, okay, please have a nice day. Kani, this is very similar to kadtong say tawag ani tong find, but I think this works with whole words separated by spaces. Why? Since dere pag starts with nato please, it returns true, di ba? Please have a nice day. Ano no ba? Okay, so it would be a character or a word di ay. Okay, it's very similar sa ato ang it's very similar tong find. Okay, this returns true kay na siya nakita nga please dira. This returns false. Okay, this returns false nga naman kay if you check closely, that is actually a small letter p, but since diri nagsugod siya og capital letter P, so this will return false. Okay, So let's say line is equal to please have a nice day. So line starts with please. I think we need to enter print here para makita. So let's make this run. Okay, true. Okay, if we change this to small letter P, okay, I think this will return false. Okay, false. That is why if we have something like this, okay, wala man siya nagsugod sa P nga letter, nga small letter, so false gihapon. So even if we write there please, okay, false. But if we write here capital letter P, this will return true. Okay, sakto. So parsing and extracting kani. So let's say given this string, okay, na siya mga different kani iyahang purpose ani is you want to get this, okay? You want to get this, I think this is what we call a domain or a host, okay? Sa host sa to ang desa katong at gmail.com, okay? Sa kana, di ba mo na to ang host email. Sa kana. If you are required to do something like this, so you need to be creative and also you need to have sufficient knowledge on with your string manipulation and string functions, okay? So this is more like a practical approach of string manipulation. So this is parsing, string parsing and extracting. Let's say data is equal to from Stephen dot I think Mar cord at uct.ac.za sat. This is very common string you found in an email, okay, as a sender or from a sender. Kana to lang subayon ang ibutang sa lecture notes na to. Okay. So at pos we want to get the position of this at. Kay gusto mo nato nga the words after this, okay, diha magsugod nga to ang host. Okay? So data dot find at. Okay? So let's say print at pos. Okay, 21. So okay. So 21 at index 21 sa inato na ihapon. So SP this would refer to asa nga position, okay? Ang space, okay? Space after, okay? Ang yung gusto mahitabo ani is kay nakita na niya kung asa ang at. Okay? Gusto niya pud niya pangitaon kung asa ang first nga instance sa space sugod ani. Okay? So gusto niya makita dayon ni. So that ihaning ma-extract. Okay, so to do that, so sppos data.find, okay, pangitaon na to ang space, there should be a space there sa character, okay, starting from at pos. So that is, okay, let's print that out, sppos, so that is on 31, okay. So we now have two indices to keep track of, 21 and 31 in this string. So host therefore would be equal to data, okay, at pos 1, okay, plus 1, okay, taman, Okay, remember katong range ito, katong colon, taman sa SP pos. So ato ang host would be now extracted sa kana. That is, wala na space ha. How did it do this? Did this? Okay. So una, okay, yan ipangita. So you get to determine, nakita niya na. So it assigns sa at post. It would be used later. SP post, okay, that would get the first space, okay, from this position here. Okay. So dapat diri siya magsugod. Kung diri siya magsugod, ma-appeal niya ni. Okay. So diri siya magsugod. So, iyan ang scan until na space. So, mohunong siya, iyan ang ipukwaon ng index. Nga naman, kay, iyan na dayon ning ma-extract. Okay, iyan na ma-slice. So, we're going to assign that sa itong variable nga host. So based on our string here, at post plus 1. Okay, nga no plus 1. Kay, di ba, gusto na to makuha ang kanisya. From at, di man ito apilo ng at. Depende sa inyo ha, sa program requirement. But normally, if you want to get the host, okay, of a certain domain, dili ito na apilon. Okay, mo na yung separator kibale. So, dili ta magsugod. So, unsay position ani plus 1, di ba? This would refer to asa ta magsugod og extract. Taman sa SP pos. Remember unsa tong kinaiya sa SP pos? Diha siya tamang nga index, but it will not include the character which resides in that index. That is why this is okay. So, iyahang output dayon ana is kana. Kay if ato ning kwaon, okay, observe, ito anang kwaon ha, appeal ng at. So, as what I've said earlier. Okay. So, two kinds of strings. Need not kana. Okay, so siguro I'll end this discussion here. Okay, I'll create another video in which I will be using another example outside from this lecture notes. Okay, just to separate it from these examples here. Okay, so I'll be uploading that right as soon as possible after I have uploaded this video. Okay, so again, if you have questions, post comment in our YouTube, okay, or sa to ang Google Class. And I hope inyo hapon ning i-explore, okay, and not only explore but you try, okay. So ato balik ta atong kuan be. Let's try, okay. Why are we, okay, you might be wondering, sir, kung gidiretso na lang gid ay nagbutang og 21 og 31 dere, okay, di ba? Kung ato na ibutang diha 21 plus 1, okay, na plus 1 man to niya ganiha, og 31. I think this will achieve the same output, di ba? Parehas ra. But this is not flexible. Nga naman, what if maglahi dere? Okay, malahi ang ngalan. Okay, so let's say butangan ako og Juan de la Cruz. Okay, certainly nalahi na ang iyahang length ana, and 21 will no longer be the same, okay, nga dili na ang at. Okay, okay, if ato na ihapon, let's say let's make this run if makuha ba gyud niya ni kani si output ani. Let's clear this out. Di ba, sayop. Okay, yang nakuha is kani taman dere. So if you want that to be flexible, okay, in which this ideally this program should do is ngani. Kana. So we're going to make this run. Okay, sakto. So what if lahi? Okay, let's say cmu.edu. Okay, cmu.edu.ph. Okay, so ang ihara mo tanawon ani is as long as makita niya ni and as long as makita niya ang space after ani, mo na iyang i-consider nga domain. Okay, sa pag slice dere. Okay, of course nani siya. We're going to make this run. Okay, semu.edu.ph. Okay, so siguro I'll end this here. Okay, next video, as what I've said, I'll demonstrate another set of examples when it comes to parsing and extracting. And also, kadtong multiple ways of printing, formatting output. Okay, so, dito na ako iusa. Okay, so again, see you next lecture video.